Right, I'm walking around clay country with the dogs. It's freezing cold, but clay country very often looks like the surface of the moon, for those of you that have flown over Cornwall. And it got me thinking, there was a milk float on the moon once, 1970 something. The lunar rover was an electric vehicle and they put it on the moon in 1970. I mean, the thing's still up there because obviously there was nowhere to charge it, or it probably just ran out of battery as soon as they turned it on, and it probably did about a mile because the moon's atmosphere was wrong or something like that, and probably the wrong weather conditions. They may have had to turn the windscreen wipers on and ran the battery down. So nevertheless, somewhere up there there's a milk float on the moon. Imagine that. Best place for it. Anyway, that's sort of the reason, because it got me thinking that in 1970 we didn't have mobile phones, didn't have flat screen tellies, didn't have the internet. Milk was delivered by milk float, a genuine milk float, a useful thing. And colour TV, probably just been introduced. Didn't even have decimalisation at that point. Yet somehow we managed to fly to the moon, have a walkabout, drive a milk float on it, and then come back again, and apparently do that 12 times. What concerns me is that 50 odd years later we can't even get to the moon, let alone have a walkabout or put a milk float on it. So how come? Someone's going to have to explain this to the fat Cornishman wearing the Bear Grylls hat, because I haven't got a Scooby-Doo how 50 odd years ago we could fly to the moon, we could drive a milk float round it, not charge it up because it's a milk float, come back, go back up, use it again if it had any battery left, and we could do all that. 1968, 69 we did that, not even the 70s. Yet here we are, 2024, we can print our own meat, we can transfer hearts from patient to patient, and even do brain transplants now. Everything is possible, but for some reason we can't get back to the moon, and I don't understand why. And there's got to be a NASA scientist out there somewhere who can explain to me why, with all the technology we've got today, bearing in mind the phone I'm filming this on is apparently more powerful than the one NASA used to get to the moon in the first place. Something done add up here. I'm wondering if we were lied to. Did we actually go to the moon? Is there a milk float on the moon? Is there a moon? I think that the moon bit is fairly substantial. But it's really started to bug me the last couple of days when they launched that rocket that yet again failed to even get out the atmosphere, let alone get to the moon. That in 50 years, no one's been back there. No one's set foot on it. No one's done a thing on it. And for some reason, the technology isn't available to do it. But it was when you only had black and white telly with one of those dials you had to turn to tune it in. We had one of they in the front room. No one in the front room, it was in the dining room. You only use the front room on special occasions. So there's a milk float up there on the moon apparently, just parked up doing nothing. Just like all the other milk floats will be in 10 years time. So I suppose that's just a case of history repeating itself. So today's subject to discuss is there a milk float on the moon? And was it the future, or was it the future my arse?